and welcome to Tech Tips with Soldo Media. I'm Amanda, and today I have with us Danni. Hey, Danni.
How's it?
Yeah, Danni is going to talk to us today about color grading. And Danni, do you want to say anything? You just won an Oscar, or a film you worked on just won an Oscar. Is that right?
Yeah, my octopus teacher won Best Documentary at the Oscars. But not only that, we won the BAFTA as well.
That's incredible. And you're working on another documentary that's got some high hopes as well. Am I right?
It's called The Last Horns of Africa. It's about rhino poaching.
I can't wait to see it, actually. So, Danni, color grading. Yeah. What do you got for us today?
So, you sent me a couple of clips shot by the Blackmagic 6K Pro.
That's right.
And they were specifically shot with the Blackmagic RAW format.
Exactly.
And as you can see, if you look at the footage that we've got here, that I've got on screen, it's fairly bland. You know, it looks milky. And the reason why footage actually looks like this is it basically fits all the data into a specific mode, if you can call it that, in specific color space in this case. But what you broadcast or what you see on YouTube is usually something which we call Rec 709. Mm-hmm. Right. So what ends up happening is if you shoot with a normal DSLR that can't shoot log, the footage would look similar to this. Just give me a second. There we go. So the footage would look similar to this.
That's right.
Okay. The problem is if you just plonk a LUT on, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you could just as well have shot with the DSLR camera.
It saved all saved all the space on your memory card, everything. Workflow easier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what I want you to see is the following. Let me just undo that. Okay. This particular clip was shot in RAW. So if I go in Resolve to the camera RAW setting over there.
Yeah.
So we go to clip,
mm-hmm.
right? I can then go and mess around with settings, okay? Yeah, so what basically happens when we shoot in RAW is the equivalent of taking a camera, a DSLR, taking a picture RAW, mm-hmm. right? So you got the white balance wrong, and you got the ISO wrong, and you got the exposure wrong, and all those things, mm-hmm. right? You can literally go and okay, so you shot in cloudy weather, or you shot in tungsten.
Oh, look at that.
And you can literally go and change the white balance, and you can go and you can change the ISO. That's the benefit of using RAW, mm-hmm. right? So if you've messed it up for whatever reason, you can actually go and fix it, right? So let me actually show you a quick and easy way of if you don't have a camera that has RAW, like how you would actually approach this. Mm-hmm. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 nodes, right? Mm-hmm. So let's go add 2 nodes, right? And yeah, the usual workflow when you color grade is you would balance it, you would add saturation, mm-hmm. and then you would add a LUT.
That's right.
And then if the LUT hasn't done the trick, you would add another node after that. Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to do is in the third node. Now notice the workflow here, right? I am adding the LUT to the third node. The LUT needs to be last in the cog in the wheel, mm-hmm. because if you color grade after the node, then you're technically messing with things you shouldn't be messing with.
Right.
Right? So I'm just going to add the Blackmagic design Gen 5 film to extended video. So that's the closest that you're going to get to Rec 709 for this particular camera. So as you can see, I just popped on the node and I'm getting quite a nice picture. So let's just play that. Okay. Now, first things first, I make sure that I've got my waveform monitor on. Okay. And then I'm going to pop into my primaries,
Right.
which is the third tab from the left.
Right.
Color wheel. Okay. As you can see, well, the blacks are almost black. So I'm just going to pop this down a little bit. And notice the LUT isn't allowing me to go past where it currently is.
Right.
So, okay. So I can't, and it's the LUT that's doing this.
Okay.
This is not the footage itself.
No, because you just showed in RAW we could do anything, really.
Exactly.
Right.
So in this case, if the LUT doesn't do what you want it to do, then you add a node right at the end. What I am going to do, however, is, as you can see, the white level or your highlights is quite low. So I'm just going to lift that slightly.
Right. Okay.
And again, the LUT is not allowing me to go too much. And it's the LUT. It's not you. It's not how you shot. It's what actually happens. Okay. Let's just bring his skin tone down a bit. Okay. And
just a quick question, Danny. If I do want to get closer to the black and closer to the top level of the IRE,
yeah,
why would I put the LUT on first if it doesn't let me actually get there?
Well, there's a certain order that you have to do things in. Right. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to balance it as far as possible.
Okay.
If I don't have the LUT on and I try and balance it, right, let me just go to that one and I try and do this manually. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's just do that. This one, I'll just add massive saturation. I get you about the same end result. Right?
Yeah.
But can you see it's not as dynamic as if I would have had the LUT.
Yeah, I see that.
That's been used. Okay, so what a LUT really is mathematics. So it's doing some or other like mathematical equation in the background. It's interpreting what the colors are doing. It's interpreting what the black levels are doing, the white levels, all those sorts of things. Right, so I'm just going to reset it and then reset it.
Right, and then add the LUT back, yeah.
Add the LUT back on. Okay, and then I'm just going to lift the midtones a bit because the black and the white level doesn't want to do anything. Are we happy with the color? Do we maybe want to add a little bit more color?
I was going to say, he actually looks a little grayer than I would have him. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
First thing that I usually do is in the first node, I do my primaries. In other words, my lift gamma gain.
Yeah.
Right. And then the second one that I've got here, this is where I would then mess with saturation.
Contrast as well, or?
You can.
Yeah.
You can. The reason why I do it as a separate node is I can actually then isolate that node.
Yeah, exactly. Toggle on and off.
And yeah.
Yeah.
So they have added some saturation. I've gone to about 66.6, you know. So I've just basically lifted it slightly.
Okay.
Okay. So now what I'm going to do is remember what I said is you go color balance. Okay. So your primaries first, then your saturation, then the LUTs. Okay. So this is how the equation works, if you want to call it that. I'm going to add another node, and notice that this node is after. Let's just switch that off. There we go. So this node is after the LUT. Okay, and the only reason why you would do it is if your LUT constricts you to a point where you can't do something, and we saw that when we tried to mess with the black levels.
That's right.
So now I can actually bring my black level down. Okay, and you can see I can go way
right
past
on.
there with it. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And you get that detail back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and I've lifted my white level a little bit, and that actually looks quite nice now. So that's without this extra little step that I've got. Can you see that the contrast has increased?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can see that it looks a little bit grayer as well, without this last step in.
Yeah.
So just so that you understand, so we've got primaries over there, we've got saturation over there, we've got a LUT over here, and then right at the end is where you just do your final tweaks.
I mean, that's so simple. When you show it, it's so simple.
The point is okay, so what we've just done is we've balanced the image and we've got it looking quite nice. Okay, this doesn't mean that we're color grading. No. Right. So these 4 nodes is just to actually get a balance going. Okay. Right. And so what a lot of people then would do on top of this is add another node. Okay. And then start messing with things like, okay, let's, it doesn't work that well. Okay, let's actually get no, I don't like that either. Let's mess with some contrast, a little bit of blue in the entire image, like that. Okay, so now I've actually created a little bit of a grade on it now. I've made it colder, and I've actually added some contrast. Right. Okay. And now if you look at this grade, right, that actually, it looks quite nice. So if I go back to what I had, I kind of go, no, this actually looks weird now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, okay, it's like too yellow now. And it's just because, you get used to actually seeing this, and then you go back and I'm like, oh, okay, that's not quite what I had in mind. So balance first, and you use 4 nodes for that, and then you add your effect or your grade. Right, absolutely. There's the various levels of color grading. What I've just showed you is like it's basics. Basics, yeah. Where and you can't grade before you've balanced. Exactly, so, right? Yeah, so there's like a pecking order. And the pecking order is first you do your primaries, then you do your saturation, then you add your LUTs, okay, and then you would fix the LUT, and then you add your grade, and then of course you get different levels of your grade. So that's it. That's awesome. So, guys, I guess some of the takeaways here for sure. If you're not prepared to work in a workflow that takes you these extra steps, for one, just shoot in Rec 409 or 709, sorry, Rec 709. But if you want to get that extra out of your camera and you're willing to try, you can use these simple steps, making sure that you're dealing with your primaries first, your levels, dealing with saturation, and then putting on your LUT, so on and so forth, even though you put the LUT on step 3 first. Danni, one other question. So we're working here. This is DaVinci Resolve 17, right? Yes. Yeah. In Final Cut, is it the same workflow, but you don't get to see the nodes quite the same way? In Final Cut, you would add an effect for every step. Exactly. So you're dragging, right. you're doing the same thing, but you're dragging the effects onto the clip. Correct. So, and then in that case, if you have a LUT, you want to drag that on after you've dealt with your lift and your gamma, and after you've dealt with your saturation, then your LUT. So if you guys are grading in Final Cut or Premiere, for example, it's the same idea, but the flow works a little different. Yeah. Yeah. Danni, thank you so much. It's always so great to talk with you. And again, I feel like I learn from you every time we talk. Guys, if you have any questions for Danni,
Let us know in the comments, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.